Cool, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Cool. Well, excited to talk to you. You got a new double feature of Roy Rogers' first and last performance coming up that's going to release next month. Before we get into that, here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passion. Where your passion to get into the film industry kind of come from? Was it a certain movie that inspired it, or something that was just naturally for you as a child?
My grandfather had a Super 8mm camera and projector, and
Oh,
he got a
nice.
he got a. So I was fascinated with shooting film, which I started almost immediately. But the projector also came with a little 4-minute movie from Castle Films, which was a division of Universal that sold 8mm home movies, and it was a little 4-minute clip of an Abbott Costello thing. And I watched that thing over and over again. It was black and white. I just got fascinated with the old films. But yeah, it started with the Super 8 camera.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little background about actually who Roy Rogers was? I mean, for me, like when I hear his name, the first thing that pops in my mind as a kid was my favorite fast food restaurant.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because you came with these French fries that had a little like cowboy gun holster, and you can like put it in your belt and then take the fries out and eat them.
Yes.
They had the best burgers.
Roy Rogers.
They're gone no more. But I guess he was an actual actor, an actual cowboy. Apparently, I guess fill me in.
No, Roy was a member of a singing group called the Sons of the Pioneers, and they were I suppose the equivalent of Alabama or the Statler Brothers back in the early 30s. They had a lot of hit songs like Cool Water and Tumbling Tumbleweeds. Roy was the lead singer and the comic relief of this particular group, which I didn't know until Cheryl Rogers Barnett, his daughter, told me at Lone Pine a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
He and the Sons of the Pioneers had done a handful of films as guest stars for various studios, including Republic. And in 1938, he was between gigs. He heard that Republic was auditioning for a new singing cowboy, and he managed to get on the lot and audition. The backstory was that the movie was going to be the next Gene Autry film, but Autry was not happy with his salary. So he called the director, Joe Kane, the night before and said, "I'm not going to be on set next day to start this movie, so don't wait for me." Gene took off, headed for the southwestern and southeastern United States, and started doing personal appearances. Republic freaked out, sent process servers across the country to chase him. And every time they'd get close to him in some small southern town, the townsfolk would surround the process servers and escort them out of town.
Oh, wow.
So while Gene Autry is being chased all over the country by Republic's lawyers trying to get him to come back and work, Republic still needs to start this movie. Roy's name, his real name was Leonard Sly, and that's who the studio knew him as. And so they said, well, let's try out this kid. Maybe he can pull this off. They tried names. They initially suggested Leroy Rogers. Roy didn't like that because it reminded him of a kid he had trouble getting along with in school. So they shortened it to Roy Rogers. Everybody signed on, and they proceeded with the movie. Roy heads out to Lone Pine to make this movie, now titled Under Western Stars. He's got Gene Autry's crew. He's got Gene Autry's director. He's got Gene Autry's sidekick, Smiley Burnett. And he's never played a cowboy hero in his life. He always
wow.
played.
I always thought he was a real cowboy. I guess I was wrong.
No, he was not. And so he had to learn on the job. And they made the film, and it ended up becoming a huge hit, and he became this iconic singing cowboy overnight. So he brought his A game to the table. The film was set up to introduce somebody. He was introduced, but if he hadn't been able to pull off the job and be convincing for the audience, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. So it was quite impressive that he managed to pull this off in Gene Autry's movie.
That's amazing. That's a really cool backstory. Well, so that's the first movie that's in this box set. And then what's the last movie that he did that's also in this final film?
Roy, at the time they made Macintosh and TJ, Roy had not made a feature film since 1952, except for a cameo in a Bob Hope movie in 1959. He had done his own television series, and he'd done a lot of TV appearances in the 60s and early 70s as a guest star, singing a song with Dale, spoofing himself on The Tonight Show. He'd done a lot of appearances, but he hadn't made a movie. Producer Tim Penland, who had been involved in the film business, decided to create a project that specifically would star Roy Rogers. And it was a heartfelt film about Roy playing, not Roy Rogers, but playing an itinerant cowboy, a guy moving from ranch to ranch, not making a lot of money, just trying to keep afloat and get work wherever he could find it. And he runs into this teenage kid who's kind of homeless and on the run, and he befriends the boy and starts teaching him some values. They end up at the same ranch together, a ranch that's troubled by a lot of real world problems, including a peeping Tom and some a wife abuse and really just a bad situation. And Roy comes in and by example sort of helps everything, get better on this ranch and in this community. And it was a film that was believed to be lost by the family for decades. But our head of restoration, Ron Smith, was able to actually find the negative elements, and we did a complete 4K restoration on it. And
it actually goes into my next question. How do you actually go through the 4K restoration, especially because this is shot in film a long time ago? I assume the negatives go bad over time. I don't no idea. You can walk me through all this.
There was that fear. When we talked to the Penlands, they said, we don't think there's any film left. Their father, the producer, had died a few years ago, and they had no information on the whereabouts. Ron looked at the film itself. We had a DVD that was had been distributed about 20 years earlier, and he found in the credits that the lab was Technicolor. So he did some digging and found that the elements were all safely tucked away at Technicolor in Camarillo, where they had been for 45 years.
Wow.
We got the elements, and they were in very, very good shape. We had to do some fix work, but for the most part, they were in great shape. And the process, we scan everything into 4K, and then we start doing, the colorist, which was Sean Lawrence, starts doing the actual restoration, balances the color. Once that job is completed, it then goes into DRS, where we fix minor dirt, we fix scratches that might be in the element, things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the short version of the process. In the case of this film, our approach is not to make this look like a film that was made in 2021. It's more about sort of getting the rust off and making it look as good as it would have looked back in 1976.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's the approach we took with it. And it looks gorgeous. The film was shot on all these an actual Texas ranch called the Four Sixes, that is now being used as the location for the new Yellowstone TV series spinoff.
Oh, really? That's cool.
It's the same place, and so the photography in this is just amazing, and it's got a score by Waylon Jennings. So it's really a slice of what ranch life was like in the Texas in the mid-70s.
That's really amazing. So it comes out Tuesday, November 23rd, just in time for the holiday season. Where is it going to be available, and how much do you think it's going to go for?
I think the list is, if I'm not mistaken, is $39.95, but it's going to be available. Nice. You'll be able to get it on Amazon, probably $15 cheaper than that. There'll be a lot of different. You'll be able to get it just basically everywhere. You'll also be able to order it through our Verdugo website as well. But yeah, it's going to be out there, easily found.
Very cool. Before I let you go, is there anything else coming up for you you're allowed to talk about?
No, we've got a sort of a legendary filmed in Texas horror Western.
Ooh, I like horror.
This is for fans of sort of the late 80s straight to video era.
Yeah.
it's called Ghost Riders, and it's about some cowboys, some outlaws that were done wrong back in the 1800s. So they come back 100 years later for revenge against the descendants of the family that took them on back in the old days.
Oh, that
So
sounds awesome.
it's fun, and it's the Blu-ray is going to be packed full of extras, documentaries, behind the scenes footage, amazing stuff we were able to find. And that's coming out, I believe, February 6th.
Very cool. We can go to the Verdugo Entertainment website for all the details for both projects. Thank you so much, Steve, taking your time to talk to me and teaching me about Roy Rogers and his amazing film career. So
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.